What up, everyone? Shakiel Mahjouri here for CBS Sports, and you know who this is. He is the UFC's number 5 ranked bantamweight contender fighting Marlon Chito Vera in the main event of UFC San Antonio on Saturday. He's an amazing fighter and an even better Shaggy Scooby-Doo cosplayer. Zoinks! Cory Sandhagen, how's it going, my man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Were you aware that you were dressed like Shaggy before that meme made its way around the internet?
I'm aware now that I don't know what happened in my life, but I started looking like a major dork. I think it happened in like the last 3, 4 years of my life or so, but I am fully aware that I'm just done looking cool, which I used to, I feel like look a little bit cool, but no more.
Yeah, we all age out. I already, since I switched over to Android, I don't even know how to use my fiance's iPhone, and I'm 27, so I'm a little worried about what the future has in store for me. But hey, man, you're a badass fighter. If anything, it's unassuming, so you can
Yeah, yeah.
you can show people what's up. Um, you know, what really sort of stands out to me about this fight is that originally it was announced for the UFC Apex, and I have never seen, the MMA fan base can be divisive at times. I have never seen as much unity as like the shared groan that this was going to be contested in a limited capacity venue. How did you feel seeing such an overwhelming response, imploring the UFC to move this to somewhere where the fans can really be loud?
Yeah, I was flattered, man. Like, I thought that that was so awesome, and I honestly think that it had a big deal to do with why they moved it to San Antonio too, is the UFC listened to them, you know. So, I get flattered for that, man. Like, I don't really, I have like a horrible sense of like public image, you know. Like, I don't know like who's hot, who's not. Like, I just, know that my algorithm is my algorithm, but I think that it tells me that I must be doing something right as far as, being a badass fighter so that people want to watch me be a main event in an arena so that they can actually come. So I was flattered, man. And I think it's happening against a really great opponent for it. And I'm like really flattered and really grateful for that.
So were you told anything about why it was being moved, or are you just kind of going on your best estimated guess there?
Like briefly, I was told that they just needed a main event,
Hmm.
and they didn't have one, and they needed to start selling tickets, and so they moved us.
Oh yeah, so sounds about right. I'm glad that the fans' voices get to be heard from time to time.
Yeah.
You mentioned your opponent, Marlon Chito Vera. Man, I was just going through some of the statistics in previewing this fight over at CBS Sports, and it's like in your last 6 wins, there's a spinning wheel kick, a front kick, a head kick. It's just a flying knee. The violence that you two bring is just otherworldly. As much as you can give away without obviously spoiling the game plan, what are the biggest threats that Cheeto possesses in this fight, and where are you going to give him the most problems?
Well, Cheeto is like a really grounded and really he's like a very grounded fighter, right? So he doesn't rely on his footwork to win, and that's fine, like that's great. I rely on my footwork to win. So I think that that's probably the biggest difference there, like you saw it against Cruz and his fight. Cruz was giving him some troubles. Cruz doesn't really have like the greatest guard in the world. Like his hands don't really come back to his face much. Um, so there's like that mistake. I do think that I'm a much better defensive fighter. Maybe I won't say much better, but I'm a better defensive fighter than I think Cruz is, just because I have better hand positioning and a better guard. But uh, I think that Cheeto's going to pressure me. He's going to try to make it kind of an ugly fight. I think that he's going to try to do his best to wear on me. He's going to try to do his best to make me move my feet so that I run out of energy. And I'm going to do my best to, not let any of those things happen. And I'm ready to take the fight wherever the fight needs to go. I'm a quiet, humble kind of guy, so I don't really get to show the dog that's inside me sometimes, in my last couple, I kind of have, but if that's what I got to do to win, then that's what I'll do to win too. So I'm ready for however ugly or however beautiful Saturday night is. I'm ready for the both of them.
I love it. The bantamweight division is quite interesting. I think I wrote an article a feature late last year talking about how bantamweight is shaping up to be the most exciting division in the UFC, and I think it's largely delivered. There's sort of a weird logjam right now, right? Because you have Henry Cejudo plucked out of the abyss back to fight for a world title in a division that has no shortage of viable contenders. Sean O'Malley's there. Merab Dvalishvili is there, despite the fact that he doesn't want to fight Aljo. And then, the winner of you versus Chito is very much in the mix. For you, what sort of impact do you think this bantamweight logjam is going to have? Is it at all frustrating that it seems like things are kind of being held up a bit because you have Cejudo, you have Merab not wanting to fight Aljo? It's a little messy at the top end.
It seems a little bit messy. I think that I personally feel like the next fight for me should be against Marab. I think that Marab is definitely the toughest guy who isn't the champ right now. I think that he showed that in his last fight. His last fight was like very inspiring. Even for me, it made me want to get like a lot better. So I think that that'll be the next fight. I keep hearing whispers about O'Malley being the next one to fight for the belt after the Cejudo and Sterling fight. So if they do that, then Marab seems like a very energetic guy who doesn't want to sit on the couch for very long, and we'll both be sitting on the couch for quite some time if me and him don't fight. I don't think O'Malley will fight not for a title unless he has to. That would be, maybe not the smartest move on his part, even though I don't want to talk him out of it. I don't want to talk him out of it. But yeah, so I mean it's looking like it's likely gonna be me and Marab. And that's exciting.
See, I really like that answer because a lot of times it's kind of the standard question you ask a fighter, right? Who are they going to fight next? And oftentimes you get the, I'm just focused on the task at hand. But it doesn't take a brain, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to break down the division. I appreciate that you're so mindful of what makes sense on the trajectory up. And yeah, I mean, if Marab's not going to fight Aljamain Sterling, I personally, most people were upset with him for it. I love that friendship can persevere in this business at time to time. I think that's an amazing fight to make. Aljo has said, as has Ray Longo, that if it comes down to Merab or bust, Aljo's going to move up to featherweight. For you, how well do you think Aljo would do at 145 pounds, considering the weight difference and the competition you have at the top of that division?
Oh yeah, good question. I mean, he's a champ, dude, so he's definitely good. He's definitely good. And he's who were his last two fights? His last two fights were Jan, huh?
Jan and Jan, if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? To be honest, I'm curious to see how Aljamain is going to do against other people. I know that he's a good fighter, man. Like he beat me. I think that he's beaten some really top guys. So to count him out just because he's going up in a weight class, I don't, I'm not going to do that for him. So I think he's a really good fighter. I think he'll do good in any division. Going up in a weight class is definitely not the easiest task. You have someone, like a lot of people that do it they're not super successful in it. So I commend him for doing it. I like when people rise up to challenges and push themselves more and more, and I think that that's great. So, but how will he do? I don't know. I got to watch him fight like some more of the top guys in the division, I guess, because I know that he hasn't really fought like the biggest guys either. Like maybe I'm just talking out my ass. To be honest with you, I don't really know how he'll do.
You know what? I appreciate an honest answer. Maybe we'll revisit this if that Merab
Yeah.
fight happens, and maybe we'll have a little bit more data we can pluck at. I'm sure you've been asked this a bunch this week, but how do you see Cejudo versus Sterling playing out?
Yeah, I really wish that I could give you like a better, like more expert uh answer, but I kind of can't. I think that the striking will be close, and I think that what's gonna nullify the rounds is gonna be Cejudo being able to take down Sterling every once in a while. I don't think he's gonna take a lot of risks when Sterling is down, but I do think that that's likely going to be Cejudo's plan is to have the striking be fairly close and then nullify rounds by taking them down. And I think Sterling's going to have a really hard time getting behind Cejudo and taking his back, which is like how Sterling wins. So Like that's a tough one for Sterling. But Sterling's also going to be way, way bigger than Cejudo, and Cejudo's coming off a way big layoff of making YouTube videos. So, I think, it's going to be tough for the both of them, honestly. And I really don't know.
I like that straight face delivery. very, very nice. Before we finish up on some light stuff, kind of get away from the fight game, I did want to ask you a couple questions about your psychology background and how it sort of blends into the fight game. First, are there in what way most does your psychology background benefit you as an MMA fighter?
I think the way that my psych background kind of benefits me is I've always had like a curiosity and just like an interest in the way that humans are and like why they act the way that they are, why the universe acts the way that it does sometimes. And so I've always had like a curiosity about life, and I've always kind of like viewed myself as a person from like a third person's point of lens, where I'm kind of just watching me being me instead of, like sometimes feeling like I'm me, which has just made it so that, which is like what psychologists do, right? So I've always had that ability to kind of, or not always, but I've developed that ability to do that for myself. And I think in doing that for yourself, you can be just really self-aware of the things that you're thinking and saying and acting out. And like you can't fix things if you're not aware of them. So
Mm.
I think that more than anything, man, like my curiosity just about life and people and myself in general has created like a lot of awareness inside of me that has made me uh just like understand why I'm doing, maybe not the best things for myself. And then when I'm aware of those things, I can do them for myself. So that's probably how it's helped the most.
Well, that dovetails really nicely because I was going to follow up with, they say ignorance is bliss. So, does it ever feel you feel weighed down by this sort of clear understanding you have of what's going on around you and inside of yourself?
Yeah, I think that ignorance is bliss. Like I get jealous of it sometimes, but I also think that like it's created a lot of acceptance inside of me too, which I think is like one of
Mm.
the greatest human superpowers if you can latch onto it. And like you have to just, if you're going to be super aware of yourself, you have to be super accepting of yourself too. And the two kind of go hand in hand. And so ignorance is definitely bliss, but so is acceptance.
I love that. Okay. Corey, you've been so gracious with your time. I want to finish off with some stuff, kind of get away from the fight game, give you a break from the media cycle. So, first, what I would like to do, Corey, you've got no shortage of great tattoos. Your opponent, Marlon Vera, has quite a few. So, I'm going to show you some of Chito's tattoos. I'd just like you to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, okay?
Okay.
All right. Let's start with, if things load in a reasonable time, this back piece that he recently just got updated.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's legible. It's gonna look good on camera, which mine doesn't. It's spaced out nice. It's dark, black and white. I like it. I'll give it like a eight. I'll give it like a eight.
All right, 8 is a very solid. Luke Thomas is gonna absolutely adore this segment. I just know. All right, next up. I mean, this guy's basically tatted head to toe by this point. What do we think about the chest piece here?
I'm not super into the chest pieces, like I think where it says Chito Vera, if he didn't have all the other stuff going on around his chest and his neck, definitely wouldn't be into that look. But because it kind of looks like, it's filled in, I'll give it it's not as nice as the back. I'll give it like a 6.5, and that's pretty high for like a chest piece in my opinion.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you for dealing with my shaky hand there. This one, it's gonna be a little hard to see, so if you don't feel like you can do your due diligence, that's fine. But what do we think about the leg tat?
The leg tat, yeah, I like Japanese tattoos too. If you're gonna do it, you got to do like a whole sleeve. So, wise decision. Cheeto definitely has some style, a lot more style than I think I have. But yeah, but I think that it's nicer than the chest piece. Maybe a little bit nicer than the back piece too. It looks cleaner. So let's go 8.5.
8.5, solid. Okay, and the last one, this is the one that kind of took over the internet. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he used any numbing cream or anything. What do we think about the tattoo on the back of the head?
Oh yeah, huh? That's an intense one, man. I don't know. That one's supposed to be provocative. That's a very provocative tattoo. I don't even know how to rate it because it's so unique. The tattoo itself, cool. It definitely belongs on a head. I think it fits this. I think it fits the style. I'll maybe give it like a 7, and because it takes some balls to tattoo your head, so we'll give him a 7.
All right, I love it. Thank you for your insight. I appreciate that you didn't phone that in. Do we have a couple minutes to just get to some rapid fire stuff, some kind of stuff that the fans were curious about?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Oh,
you
I
can
think I
keep
was.
these as short as you like.
Okay. I'll answer them kind of quick, but yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, if you could add one fighter's attribute to your game, what would it be? Think Ngannou's power, Habib's wrestling, Nate Diaz's slap.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely want Habib's wrestling.
What is one thing other than foods that you completely cut out during fight camp?
Ooh, other than fruits. Any like alcohol and any marijuana usage.
Okay, fair enough. Well, shout out to the weeds off the band list there. Okay, last I need three songs from you. Okay, what's the song that gets you most pumped?
Song that gets me most pumped. I think I've been listening to a lot of like 80s music lately, honestly. uh like I've been listening to some Queen lately just because it's so theatrical and so yeah, I've been listening to that. So let's go with Queen for this time. But usually I'm a hip hop guy, but I've been listening to some 80s
As am
stuff.
I. It's honestly it's nice to get away and mix it up a bit.
Yeah.
What song could make you cry the easiest?
Mm, I don't really watch or listen to too many things that make me cry. Not,
Anything
not
from the anything from Les Mis will get me, but yeah.
uh
All right, last one. What is the song you could sing every word of right now? I won't make you do it though.
a lot of songs by Biggie I can probably sing almost every word to.
I love it. All right, Cory, we got to get you out of here, man. You've been so gracious with your time. I want to leave you with the last word, so I'll do my part very quickly. Guys, thanks so much for watching the video. If you're still here, you know what you got to do. Please subscribe, tap the bell, comment, let us know what is your official prediction for Sandhagen versus Vera. That headlines UFC San Antonio on Saturday. Shout out to CBS Sports. Full feature with Cory in the description. Cory, if there's anything you'd like to let the fans know, the floor is yours, my man.
No, San Antonio, I'm really excited to perform for you guys. It's been a minute since I fought in front of a crowd. I can't wait for the energy, and I'm gonna bring it. So make sure that you guys are there.